We're recording. Steph, welcome back to my channel. Thank you for joining me.
Thanks.
It's a real pleasure to have you back on. It's been about just over a year since the last time you and I spoke.
Has it been a year?
It's been a year. It was during that first lockdown.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's right. Yes. The first one. Yeah.
And now we're in the second lockdown.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm in a video game right now. Like I'm trying to get to the next level.
I know, totally, right?
And all these new variants, they're like the big boss at the end of each level, right?
Yeah. And hopefully we can win, right?
Yeah. Well, one of the reasons I actually wanted to get you on the channel, and it was because you specialize in gut health. And I'm going to get to that in a second. I have so many questions I have to ask you about gut health. Okay. I really want to pick your brain because you're an expert in your field. But before we get into that, what's going on with you these days?
Okay. So I feel like a lot since we talked last, obviously. I've had a complete shift in my business. When I was speaking to you before, I was working part-time at a restaurant, and then I had my two businesses, right? So I was focusing on hormone health, and I also have a natural, through doTERRA, I do a natural supplements, natural, oils and things like that I have that outlet for my clients to be able to use, to be able to transition to toxin and chemical free stuff pretty easily. And so since I spoke to you last, I am no longer at the restaurant anymore. And so I feel like I kind of hung on to that extra side job. I never really needed it, but I had it as a security blanket for me. I was just not ready to push a little bird out of the nest kind of thing.
I completely get that.
It was a blessing in disguise, I feel, for me, that it came to an end suddenly. And I was just, okay, you know what, how are we going to deal with the situation that's come up now, right? And so now I've been able to fully dive into my businesses, and it's going so well. And I just don't know why I didn't do this sooner. You know what I mean? Sometimes you need to be pushed or forcefully out of your comfort zone. And then you're like, oh, wow, okay, this is not that bad. This is actually really good. And so I feel like that's what's happened for me. And so in the meantime, I have switched from focusing on hormone health to gut health.
Okay.
And the reason why for me for that is because, again, I had IBS. I was diagnosed with IBS. I went through all the tests. I did all the colonoscopies, had all the blood work, had all the things done, and everything came back normal. But for people in my position, you don't feel normal. And so I believe that there's a certain benefit to all of the testing that you can have done through a regular doctor, but I don't feel it's in depth enough. You can't see leaky gut through any of those tests. You can't see these things that are going on in your gut necessarily, unless it's an obvious thing, like an ulcer or Crohn's or colitis, right? You can't see the little smaller things that are happening. And even when you have liver problems, you can't see what's going on with your liver until it's gone really bad, on the ultrasounds and stuff, right? Where there is stuff happening well before it gets to that point. So anyways, even when it comes to hormone health, we're always coming back to gut health, even when you're dealing with that, even when you're dealing with weight loss, if you're dealing with mood, anxiety, depression, all of that, it all comes down to your gut health. And I was able to overcome my situation, and I started helping a few people that had digestive issues, and their results were amazing. It takes a certain amount of time to completely, I can't say the word heal, but heal your gut basically. And they get changes within the first couple of weeks. And I was like, okay, I was feeling super fired up about it. And now I've just ran with it. And that's what my business focuses on now. So those are the biggest changes. And I've gotten engaged in the last little bit too. So there's that. And
congratulations. I saw that on Instagram. Congratulations. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
So how did that go down? How did the engagement happen out of the blue like that?
Yeah, it just, we've always talked about it, right? And that's something that I've wanted. I wasn't ever sure about getting married, because I've been there, done that before. I just care about the commitment. I don't care about the papers necessarily. I just wanted that.
Right.
There's a certain level of the commitment, security, all of that goes along with it, right? And so he knew that's what I wanted, and he wanted that too. And I actually do think he wants marriage though, but either way, we'll talk about that later.
But wait, yeah, I'm confused. As someone, I'm confused. As someone who's never been married before, that I saw the video. I mean, he proposed to you. Yep. Doesn't that mean that you will get married? Isn't that what happens next?
Yeah. So for me, I don't care either way.
Okay.
For me, I don't need the paper. For him, he's more about the traditional sense. So
sure. Okay.
I've been open to whatever. I've just always said in my head, like, I don't ever want to get married again necessarily, like with the whole paperwork stuff,
Right.
just because, I mean, I was also in a way different place. Like that was like almost 10 years ago now when I was married before. So
Okay. Yeah.
I'm just in a way different space now, way more like open to that kind of stuff. So yeah, that's totally fine. If that's where he wants to go with it, I'm open to it. Just me personally, I'm like neither here nor there, I guess. But yeah, it was a total surprise. He was going to originally get one of my best friends to ask me for a hike. So there's this mountain that's kind of by our place, just like a 20-minute little thing that we can take Landon on and stuff too. Landon's my son, for those that don't know, he's 9. Yeah. And so he was going to get her to ask me to go for a hike up this little mountain. And then him and Landon were going to follow by 10 minutes later. And then, so she's also a photographer, so she's going to take pictures and stuff, but she actually ended up getting sick. So she got COVID and couldn't go anywhere for 10 days. And so, he ended up taking me to the spot where there's all these beautiful lights. And I really wanted to go in there. Like, that's kind of our tradition. I feel like it's everyone's tradition to go drive around and look at the Christmas lights. And there was this one spot we wanted to go to, and he took us in there, and then he set up the phone, and I thought we were doing like a picture, and it was actually a video. And so he ended up filming the whole thing. And yeah, I was totally surprised. Landon didn't know, he didn't want to tell him, because I don't think Landon would like spoil it, but he'd be like, Mom, are you really excited to go look at the lights? Like,
no kidding, right?
Yeah, like, okay.
It's hard to ask a 9-year-old to keep a secret like that.
Yeah, no, definitely not.
One thing I wanted to talk to you too about, you mentioned your friend had COVID. You just actually got off about a COVID, right, as well?
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
So I'm on day like 13 now, and I feel great. Like my nose, I can breathe through my nose fine, but it does sound a little bit nasally still. Right. But yeah, I feel good. Like I have a whole line of supplements that I've been saving for, because I knew it was going to happen at some point. Everyone's going to come in contact at some point. So
that's what we've been told.
So it's just how prepared are you going to be, right? So I've really been focusing on my nutrition over the last little bit. You know, my boyfriend vapes sometimes, and so he's been cutting down on that to make sure like we're in the best spot possible for, you know, whenever we were to get it. And so I truly believe some of the stuff that I was taking really helped me to have a really quick turnaround. So and it's really funny because it kind of creeps up on you and then it slams you. So it's like, I had a little bit of a tickle in the throat, and like, that was really it. Didn't really think anything of it. And then I started getting like some body aches and chills and stuff. And I just felt tired. Like my boyfriend slept for 24 hours straight. I've never known anyone to sleep 24 hours straight, but he did. I didn't. I was a little bit better than that. So every like man that I've known has gotten it a little bit worse than the women for whatever reason. Like I just, you know, maybe it's the whole, like, you know, they say the man cold, like the men are like
men are babies. Yes. No, we are total babies. Women have a much higher threshold for pain. No, it's true. It's true. Hands down. Yeah. So he got it as well. He contracted.
He did, and Landon did too. Landon, it barely affected him at all. He had a baby cough and like a little bit of a runny nose, and that's it. Can
I ask you what type of supplements you were taking to help keep it like more at bay? Because, well, I mean, overall, what would you rate the experience from a 1 to 10? Like 1 no pain, 10 pain. Like, were you like bedridden?
I basically didn't want to get off the couch for about 2 days. I was just very tired, and so when I say body aches and pains, like, my spine was very sore. It's almost like you've had a really bad night's sleep and your muscles are really sore to move. Like that's kind of what it felt like. When Chris would like rub my back, like I just didn't want him, like my skin I didn't want to be rubbed because it just was annoying, right? Like it just felt like uncomfortable. Okay. Other than that, like it was along the lines of like what I've had before. It's nothing I haven't experienced before, I will say. So now whether or not that's because of all the supplements I took or what, I don't know, or maybe it's my age group. I know I'm not in like a risk category. I don't have underlying conditions and stuff. So,
and you're healthy. I mean, you work out, you exercise, you eat clean, but I'm interested actually, if you don't mind sharing, what type of supplements were you taking?
Okay. So it's a whole list of stuff. So I was taking, vitamin C, zinc, quercetin. So that's a really, really important one.
I'm not familiar with that one. What is that?
So it basically helps with any kind of like lung condition. So everything that I'm taking like helped with like lungs, bronchitis, like conditions like that. And it helps with your immune system. It helps to stop the replication of viruses within your cells. That's sort of the line of all of the supplements, right? Quercetin, NAC is another one. Now, this is one that I think they've discontinued in the United States and not yet for Canada, but I know it sells out really quickly because there's been talk of them possibly removing that for whatever reason.
You don't know the reason?
What's that?
You don't know the reason why they would take it off the shelves?
No.
Okay.
I mean, that's like a whole other topic, to be honest, because I feel like there's a lot of things being removed that are natural and actually do work, and they're trying to remove them for it's taking away their profits from other things. I truly believe.
Yes, I know what you're talking about.
So I took those. I took a pine needle tincture. And so pine needle has been around for centuries. It's been used forever for like natural remedies to help with your immune system, help with viruses, help stopping blood clots, help like all these different things. So I took that. Okay. I also took, so doTERRA has these little capsules. It's called On Guard Soft Gels, and it's basically a protective blend. So it has like oregano, clove, like all like the virus killing, like natural things like in a little capsule. I took that, and melatonin. So a lot of people think melatonin's only for sleep.
Yeah.
You read up on it and see a lot of the studies. There is direct links with that and like killing and stopping viruses and
really?
Your immune system and stuff.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Were you taking these supplements prior to when you got COVID, or did you start taking it once you got diagnosed?
No, only when the minute I started to feel something, because like I've got sick on my birthday like a month ago as well, but it was just a regular, like I got tested, then it was negative. Yeah. So the minute I start to feel sick, I start implementing these right away because it helps with my turnaround on my birthday. So I was like out for my entire birthday on the couch, like just the same thing, feeling tired. Right. Next day worked out. Like I felt amazing. It was a very quick turnaround. And so I think when you catch it right at the beginning is your best chance of being able to combat it. Because if you're stopping the replication of viruses within the cells, then it's not going to get that bad. Right. And so if it is already bad and you start taking it, it'll still help you because it'll help you to get over it a little bit quicker. So, anyways, and then my turnaround here was like, a couple of days. And so, yeah.
So are you still currently taking those supplements, or now have you stopped?
I'm still, because I still have my nasally thing, I am still taking them, not to the same dose that I was before, but I am still taking them. Okay. I did have like a tiny bit of a cough. And so like the quercetin and the NAC helps with that, right? If it's like bronchial related. And yeah, so I feel great. Like we were super tired, like your body just wants to rest, but it was nothing too crazy. So I'm thankful for that.
I'm curious. So let's say 2 weeks from now, you're feeling good again. Would you stop the supplements or would you continue with them now?
I would probably stop. Like vitamin C is always great to take, but you don't want to be taking zinc long-term. I don't think you should be taking any one supplement long-term unless it's a multivitamin, right? Yeah. So I'm very much food first, supplement second. And so take it when you're sick, absolutely load your body with all the good stuff. But yeah, moving like forward, I don't think it's absolutely necessary unless you're like prone to bronchitis or pneumonia or something like that, then I would maybe think differently, but I think it's a person by person basis. I don't think like, I don't want to make a blanket statement that everyone should or shouldn't. It's a personal thing.
And that's what I wanted to actually go back to. And this is why I really wanted you on the channel, because you'd mentioned earlier when you were originally diagnosed with IBS, and you thought at the time, you thought maybe that was the wrong diagnosis. Is that correct?
Not that it was wrong. I think I did have what they consider to be IBS because it's a list of symptoms that all is the same. But the term IBS basically means they don't know what you have. It's just you all have these same symptoms, right? Okay. So where when you really dig deep as to why it's happening in the first place, it can vary a little bit for people. But yeah, I knew there was more to the story. I didn't want to just be like, oh, you have IBS, there's nothing we can do for you. Okay. I was like, no, like I know, sorry, our bodies are like super amazing. I've witnessed with myself, like movement from like people being super sick and told that you can't do anything about their condition, even if it's autoimmune, that comes down to your gut health too. That you can make these changes and not necessarily cure it, but if you're symptom free, it's just as good if you can't technically cure something, right? Yeah, so if you have no symptoms, that's the main issue that people have, right? So
when you transitioned your business purely over to gut health, and you were telling me off camera, it's because there's a demand for it now. Is there an increase in demand for that? Are you noticing more people contacting you because they're having gut health issues?
Yeah. Big time.
What do you attribute that to, the increase of people having these problems?
So if I'm going to get like real with you, then I
Yeah.
will say like, absolutely how we've been living our lives over the last couple of years
Okay.
has negatively impacted our gut big
Oh,
time.
okay. Yeah.
All these chemicals that we're introducing into our homes, like what we're cleaning our homes with, chemical hand sanitizers, staying indoors, not working out as much, like now the gyms are closed again, all of these things, and stress and anxiety, that negatively affects your gut. How you sleep negatively affects your gut. And if everyone's has extra stress, you're not sleeping as well, you're not fueling your body as well. I heard statistics the other day that like alcohol increased like by, I can't remember the percentage, but it was crazy over the last couple of years, right?
Yeah.
Like the way we've been treating our bodies has not been good. And we can only do, like, a lot of stuff is out of our control and out of our hands, but there's so much in our hands that we can still do, right? So I truly believe that, like, forget about the things you can't control and focus on the things that you can, because you can change what you're cleaning your home with and still be able to be antimicrobial, antiviral, all that kind of stuff, but it's not going to contain chemicals that destroy your gut microbiome. You can supplement properly. You can really focus on your sleep. You can start journaling. You can start working out at home. There's so many things that you can do that you can control in your environment. And I just think we've kind of gone overboard too much in that one way over the last couple of years, right? Where we're overloading our body with these chemicals and these things in our environment. Like, our body is naturally built to detoxify itself. That's our liver's job. But when you're overloading it, and like your toxic load is getting too much, where stress is a toxic load, right? Also chemicals in your environment, you're not sleeping, all these things, your body kind of like, it doesn't give out, but it's just like, you're going to start to notice a lot more symptoms and sort of go towards more symptoms of disease in certain areas when your body's overloaded. So you have to be able to give it that break and like do what you can to support the detoxification process in your body and allow your body to function properly, right? Because our bodies will do that. Our body's always trying to create homeostasis. It's always trying to balance itself out. We can put it through the ringer and it still like has our back, right? But you have to be able to give it the proper tools so that it actually functions its best and you feel good. Your energy's good. You're not running to the bathroom every 5 seconds. You can have a coffee in peace. Like, you know what I mean? So
Okay, that's really interesting, because I always assumed, and I mean, I've been in the fitness industry for 20 plus years now. I always assume when people tell me they have gut health issues or they suffer from IBS, Crohn's, colitis, that is primarily a digestive tract issue and maybe has to do with the food they're consuming. Now, you're saying that with a lot of these issues that you're experiencing now, a lot of that has to do with things like cleaning aids that we're using.
Yep. So cleaning aids, that's like one component of it, right? So it can be, again, it varies differently for every person. So if you're stressed or you're consuming foods that your body doesn't like, so this is one thing that I almost every single one of my clients, when they first talk to me, this is like what they come to me and they say is that I feel like I can only eat 5 foods without having a reaction, right? Without getting gas or bloating. I've narrowed it down to 5 foods only. So to me, that tells me that your body is treating these things as if it's an allergy, but it's actually not. So what happens is our gut lining is supposed to be like this. The junctions in our gut is supposed to be tight. Our food's broken down into small molecules and it's able to pass through like the villi and microvilli in our digestive system to absorb into our bloodstream, right? So what happens is when like you're stressed, you're on birth control, over-the-counter medications, chemical things in your environment, you're eating foods that your body doesn't like, you end up getting gaps in your intestinal wall. And so this is called leaky gut. And this is where like larger molecules of food will pass through that. And then your body doesn't know what that is. Like, it doesn't know these larger molecules of food. So it reacts as if it's an allergy. So you could be fine for years. And then all of a sudden you start to notice an increase of things that you're like getting stomach problems from. And then, you've suddenly narrowed your food down to 5 things. And that actually used to be me. And I had a client, the same thing, came to me, couldn't really eat anything. We started our protocol and he's like, if I could just go 1 day without pain, like I would just be so thankful. And the first week he went like, there's 2 days that he went half a day with no pain, which was like a pretty good progress for him. The next week he went an entire day, no pain. And as we went through the program, he kept going like more days, no pain, until he had no pain at all. He could eat all the foods that he couldn't before, even gluten and dairy, which sometimes that is a true allergy for some
Triggers.
clients, right? Like
Great.
I'm not going to say it is or isn't. Sometimes it is, but
Okay.
so I don't know until we've done the whole protocol and we start to reintroduce some foods, whether or not that's a true allergy for you.
Right.
But he was able to consume both of those things again
Really?
and have no problem. And he gained the weight back that he lost because he was not eating very well. And I mean, end of the story for him, right? So he's just feeling good and he knows how to fuel his body moving forward. If he ever gets to that point again, he just starts back from the beginning of the program and is able to
follows the same protocol.
Yeah.
I want your opinion on this. Do you think that, like, for example, people can develop allergies to certain foods as they get older? Is that possible?
Your body is changing constantly, right? Like you're constantly changing. So one thing that is common is eating, if you were to eat the same foods every day ongoing, you're more likely to develop an allergy for those specific foods. Okay. So as an example, I had a food allergy test done like probably 6 years ago to try and figure out like what was going on with me, right? Right. And it came back like bananas, gluten, dairy, chocolate, spinach, all the things I had like almost every day. My favorite things, peanut butter. There's all these things on there. Okay. Love those things. And so I was very upset having to like,
of course. Yeah.
I just got another allergy test done. Now, this isn't like your regular scratch test, like from a doctor. This is only from a naturopath. They do IgG testing, which is like food sensitivity, is not necessarily where you're going to react as if you're vomiting or have to run to the washroom. It's like your body just is really bothered by it. My son had a gluten intolerance and his immune system went down and he was getting sick all the time. We removed it and eggs and he didn't get sick for almost a year. So that's sort of how it plays into effect. But I had a repeat test done a couple of months ago. And because I've healed my gut, like none of those foods come up at all. Nothing. The only thing I'm allergic to is snails. For whatever reason. Yeah. I don't even eat those, but whatever, snails. And there was one other thing. Oh, egg whites is still kind of on the spectrum there, but that was it. None of the other stuff came up because like I have been able to heal my body and I'm not reacting to those foods anymore. So
now have you incorporated like peanut butter back into your diet, for example?
Yeah.
And no problems at all.
I can even eat dairy and gluten. Like I tend to, dairy is pretty inflammatory in your body. So I try and like limit it, but I still have it. And same with gluten. Like before, if I had too much, I'd get a little bit bothered, but like I'll still eat it. Okay. I don't react to it anymore. So
what's your theory? I have a lot of clients that'll go work with a dietitian or nutritionist and they're put on these elimination diets. What's your theory about those diets? What do you think?
I think it's a great temporary thing to do. It's very hard for the clients though, because you're eliminating pretty much everything except for a few select things. And then you are reintroducing them to see which foods you react to. So I think it's good as far as that goes to figure out what foods you're allergic to if you don't want to go for a test. So it's either or, right? You either go for an IgG test and figure out everything that you're allergic to, or you do the elimination diet. The elimination diet, yes, it's free, right? Essentially, it's cheaper than like the test. I think I paid $160, right? So if that's something that somebody doesn't want to do, they'd want to do the longer route, go for the elimination diet. But the only problem I have with that is if you're doing the elimination diet, but you're not doing a healing protocol at the same time, then you're not going to make any progress. Sure, you might notice that you're allergic to the spinach and the bananas and the peanut butter, but that's not what the root problem is. So you can eliminate those foods from your diet and you're not going to have pain from those, but eventually you're going to start to react to other foods, like just how we were just talking about, right? Because you haven't actually healed the problem, like why it's happening in the first place. Yeah. So yes, I think they're great to figure out what to avoid during the healing process. Right. But then you should be able to eat those foods again and not be bothered in the same way.
Okay. So I'm curious. So if I came to you as a client and I said, no, I don't know what's going on with my stomach. I mean, I'm getting these cramps, I'm getting pains from out of nowhere all of a sudden. What would be your recommendation for you? Like what's the standard procedure that you take with a new client when they come to see you?
So I do free one-on-one consults. So we do like a free 15, 20, well, I don't put a time limit on it. It's usually around 15 to 30 minutes. To figure out what's like, I want to hear your story. I want to hear what's going on with me, when it started. So if you're coming to me and it's something that's only just started, then I'm going to give a different recommendation to someone who's been experiencing this for years. And that's usually what my clients are, is like, they've been tried everything, right? They've been to the doctors, everything comes back normal. They don't know what to do. All they know is they eat something and they're bloated and they're uncomfortable, or they have to plan where bathrooms are when they go out, kind of thing. Yeah. And so I want to hear about them, like what is going on for you. I explain a little bit about how the body works and how they would have gotten to where they are, right? So like are you taking over-the-counter medications? Are you on birth control? What's your stress levels like? Like I ask all the questions that we're sort of talking about in this call.
Sure.
And then I let them know how my program will help them. So
Okay.
the program itself is the same all around, and 90 to 95% of my clients will get results just from that. But there is the 5 to 10% that they'll have a little bit of improvement, but it's not enough. And then that's where we're going to look at things deeper for them, because there could be a couple of other things going on for them. Maybe you have a histamine intolerance. Maybe there's like parasites or candida going on. And so yes, you'll notice improvement, but you're still going to have issues if you have those things going on, which then we address after that to be able to get you to where you need to get. Like, I just want you to be pain-free. I want you to be experiencing the results. Like, that's my main focus. And so like, I've actually just created a 4-week gut reboot program. And so I teamed up with another woman. Her name's Tracy Steen. She's amazing. She's a personal trainer herself. She's also has a master's in psychology. And so she's offered a mindset coaching part of the program.
Right.
And so we go through the entire protocol. There's like a live Facebook group. Other than that, you go through at your own pace, right? And then you have an option to upgrade if you want one-on-one support. That's there for people, but that's being released in January because I wanted to be able to help more people. Like, I only have so much time to do the one-on-one all the time, right? And so I want to be able to offer people that option, and then still do one-on-one if you really need extra support, because some people have different things going on that maybe the program doesn't address, and that's where you need to do the one-on-one. So, and
I think that's where jobs like yours and I have a very similar problem to that too, is throughout the better half of 2021, my online roster was full. And people would DM me and they'd say, is it really full? Or are you just using that for marketing? I'd say, no, why would I turn down business online? I want business. But I think what happens is, like you said, there's only so many hours in a day. And there's only so many hours that you as one person can work. And this is why I like networking with you, is because you do take a very customized approach to the people you work with. You don't give them cookie cutter diet plans or cookie cutter like advice. Because of that, and because of that though, I mean, you have to pay for that. Like, and people don't understand. I mean, you're not getting just some copy and paste program that you can find on Google. Like, you're working with a professional. And to me, it's super valuable to work with someone like you because you're an expert in your field and you do take that customized approach. And I think a lot of people just don't understand that, you are a one person and it's all in here, and you can only take on so many clients in one sitting. Yes, absolutely. What's your opinion on getting blood work done if someone's going to work with you with regards to anything with gut issues?
I think it's helpful. So I know, where we're starting from, and I don't feel people do that enough, right?
No.
Even just like, how often do we go and get just a regular checkup? Like, especially in the last couple of years. So like, absolutely. Let's see where you're at, because yes, we'll focus on your gut, but I'm also going to give you tips to help with, if your cholesterol is high, here's a couple of things that you can do extra, right? Or if you have H pylori, that's like another. I will usually recommend people get an H pylori test from their doctor. It's free. They can test for it, but it's like a bacterial strain that it's a negative one, right? Where it causes a lot of gas and bloating. So if that's what you have, instead of taking the over-the-counter stuff, I have a natural remedy for it. It'll be gone within a week. And so I want to know that before you're coming to see me, right? So because you can't just, use your diet and get it. You have to actually have a specific supplement for that.
So sorry, what's that test called?
It's an H pylori test. So it's a bacterial strain.
If you're going through the public healthcare system, like most people do here in Canada, I mean, is that something, if you ask your doctor, like, no problem, we'll send it for you? They do. They're not hesitant to send it for you. Really? No. Okay. Yeah. And that can really help.
Not that I found anyways, any clients I've asked to go get it, their doctor will do it. No problem. So really, it's usually the thyroid testing and all that other stuff that they have a hard time doing the full panel for you, but H pylori seems to be fine.
Good for you. So what's your plan now moving into 2022 with your business? Because now you're working with Tracy. So what's the plan moving forward?
Her and I, so that's just an evergreen program. So it means it's just going to kind of run on its own. I'm always going to promote it, direct people towards it. I'm still going to do my one-on-one clients, but, that's now that I've kind of pushed myself out of my little nest there. Like, I'm just going to go all in and just try and, do more live master classes, try and educate as much as I can. Because a lot of people will always come to me like, wow, like hearing your stuff, like it's like I'm reading about myself, it's a very common thing. And it's like, you don't have to live your life like that. And I feel so bad for these people that go every day, or they've Googled everything. And like, if you go and you Google everything, you're going to get so confused because
Terrible.
or you're going to
Terrible.
spend hundreds of dollars on supplements. And it's like,
Yes.
no, please don't.
No. I tell clients that all the time. I'm like, please don't just Google your symptoms and think that's what you have.
Yeah.
And that's where it really comes down to working with an expert.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't know this because, you mentioned how your back was, you quit the restaurant industry, or you were kind of forced to quit the restaurant industry because of COVID, right? I mean, a lot of people, the restaurant industry shut down. A lot of people don't know this, but you and I met, was it going back 2007 or 8?
Oh my gosh. I don't know. I think it was 2005, to be honest.
Oh, was it 2005? Okay.
Early.
So yeah. And you and I were both working in a restaurant at that time, right?
Yeah.
And I know exactly what you mean by, once I had to make that transition too, where I was holding on to that restaurant job, because let's face it, you actually make some pretty good money when you're working in restaurants. You do. You make tips, you make cash. It's great money. Yeah. It's a fun environment. You work with young people. And it was a hard transition for me too, to just give up that job, because the leap to saying, okay, I can't hold on to this anymore. I'm actually doing better at my own business. Like, I take that leap and go with it. And I think every entrepreneur struggles with that for the first few, not even for your first few months, first few years. It's scary. Right? Because you're like, now everything relies on you.
Yeah. If you're not succeeding, the only person you can blame is yourself. So
100%. Yeah. So, but you're liking the transition.
Yeah, I am. And just the freedom of like being able to be at home and like be around my kid. And, like, I just, I mean, if I end up having to homeschool him too, they just said that the schools might be closed for the first week or two.
I saw that. Yeah.
I really hope that we don't go through that again. But I have the option now. I'm at home, that it's not really going to affect me that much. So yeah, I'm just really happy to have the flexibility of my schedule all the time now. It's nice. So
that's my friend Pilar. I had her on the channel a few days ago, and she runs her own business. She's a personal trainer as well. I've known her probably as long as I've known you. Yeah. And she's got 3 kids. And she even said to me, that's the one thing I love about working for myself. I do have that flexibility. In some ways you do, but in some ways you don't, because I mean, what people who are not entrepreneurs don't understand is that sometimes we might have to take that consultation at say 8:30, 9:30 at night. You don't do a typical 9-to-5 job.
Oh, exactly.
And a lot of people don't get that.
Yeah.
And so I'll have a lot of people that will just assume that, you and I live the good life because we're just working for ourselves, but that's not true. I mean, there are some stresses that we have to deal with all the time.
Yeah. Yeah. And that is one thing, that's a really good point. A lot of my clients, they only have time, they work in the day. So when they can see me is at 7:30 at night. So I'm working till 7:30 to 9 sometimes, in the evening to help accommodate my clients, or on the weekend, or whenever is good for them. I'm trying to be flexible with my schedule, to be able to accommodate them, because I want to help them. And that's the only time they're available. But yeah, people don't think about that as that extra, you're kind of on call all the time with your business. Right. So
you mentioned that you do these Facebook Live talks. Do you do those talks? Okay. So, I mean, how would someone get in contact with you for those? I mean, do you have to be a client of yours to do that? Or is it like an online platform? How does that work?
I'm offering free education all the time. So I will just depending on what I find a lot of people are asking me questions about, then I'll go live and I'll talk about that, or I'll address a couple things. I did a this or that gut edition through my Instagram. And so I haven't gone live yet, but I'm going to go live and then address, because there's usually 50-50 people are not sure about, some of the info about your gut. So I want to go live and explain about that to help educate you and navigate you through to feel what's the best approach for you, right? Do you want one-on-one support, or do you think you can do the program at your own pace kind of thing, right? So or just direct you in the proper thing. But yeah, my Instagram is still Circle of Life Nutrition. Is where I'm at there. My website is stephtalbot.ca. I've revamped basically everything on there now. So and now I'm just doing all my logos and my labeling and everything to switch to
I'll plug
that health guru part. So it's very exciting.
No, I'll plug all that information into this video, because I mean, I've tried to send a few people your way before. And one of the things one of my clients told me is, wow, Steph is really thorough. One of my clients, I sent her to you a few months ago, Monica, and she's like, wow, I never had anyone send me back so much information. I'm like, well, that's good. That's what you want. You want someone who's going to take a more customized approach to what you need. You don't want a cookie cutter. Here you go. Spack off. That's it. It's done. And I said, this is what you need. You're having issues, right? Yeah. And I mean, you have to put in your work too as a client. If you want to work with someone like yourself or me, you have to do your part too. Because we're not mind readers. We don't know. We're not with you 24 hours a day. We don't know what you're putting in your body, what you're doing on the side, So
And
it goes
that
both
is
ways.
something like I will say for sure, like I can give, like we can give all the tools, right?
Yeah.
So unless you're actually putting into action what we're requesting of you,
Yeah.
that's what determines the results. And
Yeah.
so, you know, I do have a couple of people who are, you know, like they've been in pain for so long that they're just like, oh, nothing's ever going to work. Nothing's, you know, and it's just more of like that kind of approach. And it's like, I'm trying to switch your mindset, right? Like you got to switch how you're thinking about it. Like, let's like, look, you did actually have improvement because you didn't have pain these 2 days, or now you have consistent bowel movements, where I find people just want like the big thing, like all at one time, but it doesn't, your body doesn't work like that, right? Like it took you a while to get to where you're at. It's going to take you a little bit of time to get out of that, but you need to be able to recognize the small little changes that are happening that's leading to the big result that you want, right?
That's why I love having you on, because I love picking your brain. Again, when it comes to me, I go back to that old school bodybuilding mentality. Like, you're not losing weight, you got to cut calories, and just black and white. Right now, as I get older, I've kind of advanced in my way of thinking. But at the same time, if it's out of my scope of practice, I refer out to you, because you are an expert in what you do, right? And you know your stuff, and you know I think you're great at what you do. Yeah. Before I let you go, I want to let you go, but you said to me off camera that you had questions for me, and I said, I told you, you get your own channel, you can ask me questions. But I said, okay, fine.
Yeah, but you know what, we're going to reverse it here. Yeah, no, I just want to know like what you're doing, like how you're pivoting with the new restrictions, like of what's going on. Cause I know that kind of hits a lot of you guys really hard. Like it's hard to wrap your head around it, right? So like, how are you navigating that new change right now?
Yeah, so that's a good question. In the last, just before COVID hit, actually, in the last, probably I'd say 2.5, 3 years, I myself started to transition more and more off the floor and more behind the scenes. And my business partner and she's doing the same thing as well. And what we've done is we've hired contractors to work under our umbrella. So I feel for the contractors right now, because their primary income is on the floor. For myself personally, I'm not heavily affected by this because I mostly work online these days anyway. So, I mean, it doesn't really affect me on a personal level. On a business, it totally does, because we have a lot of clients that work with us at our facility, which is closed right now. We can't even open it for our trainers to just do a workout at. So we've had to kind of reinvent ourselves again. And again, like what I was talking to you before, it's really hard when you're one person and and people want to work with you. And I'm incredibly grateful, and I'm sure you are. People want to work with you. I mean, it's a compliment to you as a person, right? As a professional. And I feel bad saying, well, no, I don't have room to work with you right now. I can't give you that same type of service that I want to give you. But now this has opened up those doors a little bit more for us, for sure. So I even said to the contractors I'm working with, start offering your services online. These Zoom sessions, I personally have never done a Zoom session myself. I don't teach them, but I have trainers that do, and I have clients that love them. Yeah. And it's much easier to buy weights right now because not the whole world is in lockdown. Most of my clients work in the States and they're not in lockdown at all. All the gyms are open. So nobody's buying equipment. And now in Vancouver, a lot of people are like, I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm going to buy dumbbells again and weights. I'm like, they're available. There's not a shortage for them. You go on Amazon, you can buy them. I've had one of my clients bought them, I think last Thursday. He had them delivered yesterday. Oh, so, nice. Yeah. So people can do home workouts. So the Zoom workouts are doing well for us. But myself personally, I primarily deal with doing more of a customized training programs, customized nutritional plans. That's what I focus on, working with people. So I work with a lot of competitors, but not just purely competitors. I work with the everyday person that just wants to lose weight, gain muscle. But that's where, honestly, I would say right about 2019, my business started to shift for me doing that. And to be honest, I'm getting older. I can't do 12 hours of days on the floor anymore. I can't do that.
No, it changes. Once you hit 35, it's all different from there.
You're right. It's true. And I think, man, I can do this forever. But those 5 a.m. wake up calls are not any easier. Yeah. And you have to have an exit strategy, because the type of work that I was doing is very physical. And I'm not some old man. I mean, I can still do it for another 10, 15 years if I need to. But as a company, you can only grow so much if you're one person. And this is where you get more people to help you. So the contractors we have working for us right now are great. Yeah. And then if people want to work with me as individual one-on-one, I still do that with people. But primarily I'm online now. So, I mean, if anyone's looking to work with someone for more of a customized approach, I definitely take that approach. Yeah. And just like you, I take my job super seriously. And so when I say, if an online roster is full, I'm not just using that for marketing purposes, it's full. Because you don't want to devalue your service, and you don't want to start giving out those cookie cutter plans. I'm just like you. I'm incredibly thorough with the people I work with. If I'm working with someone who wants to lose weight and they haven't lost weight in, say, 2 or 3 weeks, that's a reflection on me. I've got to say, okay, what am I doing wrong here? If they're doing everything I'm telling them to do, that's a reflection on the coach. Mm-hmm. Now, if they're shitting the bed and they're cheating on their diet and they're not training hard, that's them.
Yeah.
But for the most part, it's up to me. And as you know, it comes with experience, and you got to troubleshoot and say, okay, what do I have to do here? So yeah, I'm always interested in working with anyone I possibly can. Though I never turn down business. I might tell someone it might be a few weeks to work with me, but I'll always try to help anyone I can, because it is a compliment. I take it as a compliment that at the end of the day, we're selling our services, and it's totally a compliment that someone wants to work with you.
Yep, totally.
So if someone wants to contact you, is the best way through email, Instagram? What's the best way to get in contact with you?
Yep, email, Instagram, either one of those is totally fine. So, yeah, either one.
And you're taking on clients. Your roster's not full right now, right?
It's not right now, no, especially now that I'm kind of moving some people over to the Evergreen program. It's opening up a little bit more space. So once that releases January 16th, it might change though. So
yeah, so sign up now with Steph.
Yeah,
it will. No, well, I can honestly speak on your behalf. You're great at what you do. So thanks. Honestly, I mean, people, if they're having issues, any issues at all with their stomach, gut health, like you're the person to go to, right? Not me. I might be the person if you want to lose weight, build muscle, but if you're having some issues, I mean, go to the expert, right? Yeah.
A lot of people just don't realize the powers of our own body and like what we can do with like natural medicines. And it's really eye-opening until you actually experience it. You're just kind of like, oh yeah, whatever. And then you actually go through that experience, like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Now I get it.
Yeah. Steph, I want to thank you so much for coming on the channel.
Thanks, Nick. I appreciate it.
No, I appreciate you. I know you're really busy, so I really appreciate you spending some time with me during this second lockdown. I've got nothing to do, so I just kind of get on YouTube and say, "Hey, come on my channel." People do. You came on without hesitation. You're like, "Sure." I just messaged you. I'm like, "Come on my channel." You're like, "Okay." It was very easy, right? Yeah. Some people are a little bit more hesitant. Like, send me your questions first. They want to know everything, and I'm not going to try to sideswipe you or anything like that. I just, talk to you, and we can always edit things out. It's more fun though when it's raw.
Yeah,
I don't really edit
anything.
I agree.
Oh, I have questions to ask you. Are you available? It's like, what?
For the most part, they're PG-13 questions, but I always tell people there's no filter. So anything you want to talk about, you talk about it.
Yeah, that's awesome.
If ever you're thinking about starting your own channel for YouTube.
I have not thought about that. No, I don't know. I maybe one day. Like I think it might be kind of fun actually, but
it is fun.
It's been off my radar like this whole time because I've been trying to like revamp my new business, right? Yeah. But that might be a really good next step for sure.
It's just a good way to connect with people.
Yeah.
Especially right now when you can't, in my case, I can't really talk. I'm very social. I do like to hang out at the gym quite a bit, even though I'm online, but I just work on my laptop in the back. I love talking with people. Yeah. So for me right now, I'm not really an introvert. I like talking with people. So this kind of affects me. So I love doing stuff like this.
Yeah.
So if you have a channel, I want to be the first person on.
Totally done.
Great.
You got
this episode will probably go up on Tuesday of next week. So in the new year. So 2022 cool. Probably be the first video.
Good. Oh, it's like crazy to me that it's already like 2022. I honestly feel like I know there's been a lot that's gone on over the last 2 years, but I feel like it's almost flown by. Like what? How has it been like 2 years? It's crazy. So
before I let you go, I think that's just because for me personally, I feel like I'm living on adrenaline every day. With COVID, I never know, is my business open? Is my business closed? What's restricted next? And I think that's why it's gone so fast.
Totally.
You're not living your everyday, go to work, come home, cook food, go to bed. It's like,
and that's what I mean. The stress and anxiety is like a little bit higher, right? Like for me, I noticed like I had bad anxiety like years ago and I was able to combat it through nutrition and natural supplements and stuff. And then it just like came back. And like, now I feel like there's like an underlying constant thing that's there. And it's like, you never know what's going to happen. And now it's like, oh, the schools are closed. Well, like crap, like, what am I going to do? Like, I am not a teacher for a reason, like for children, right? Like I love my child. I just don't want to be his teacher. So it's just hard, right? So
did you have to homeschool Landon for most of last year?
No, just when we were like really shut down, like the first couple of months. I had to, we had to kind of scramble and make our own little schedule in the day because I had to still get my work done, right? But it's like you have a 9-year-old and he's pretty hyperactive and like, come do this, come do that, never gets tired kind of thing. So I had to navigate around then. But then, once the schools were open, he was back in school this whole time. And then now they say it's only for a week or two, but hopefully they stick to that this time.
Honestly, Steph, I still have so much admiration for people like you. Even my friend Pilar, who I had on a few days ago, who was talking about mom of 3, running your own business with a kid. I mean, that can't be easy. No.
And honestly, like, it's probably part of where my stress goes, right? Like I have to like go lock myself in the bathroom to like have a debriefer. I'm like, when I'm in there, and even sometimes like you'll close the door and like your kid will come knock on the door and it's like, can I just have 5 minutes to myself? Like, holy smokes. But yeah, it's definitely challenging, but hopefully this time around it'll be a little bit better with him. Like he doesn't want to listen to me either, right? It's just one of those things.
He seems like he's a good kid. I've seen him on your really kid, your social media. He's great.
No kid wants to like listen to his mom, right? Like trying to educate him and teach him things.
On the same way though, no parents want to listen to their kids. My parents don't listen to me. They ask me questions on diet and training all the time. I give them advice. They don't listen to me. So it goes both ways.
Yep, it does.
Steph, thank you so much. Maybe we get you on the channel again sometime. I'm doing these weighted debates too, and maybe if it's a debate about nutrition, I'd love to get you on.
Yeah, totally.
I love
really funny. Like one of my friend's boyfriends was like all about the canola oil, right? And he's very like, I'm like, are you for real? And he's like, yeah, who says it's bad? And like we kind of got into like I was trying to educate on his side and he was trying to set up for his side, but like it's basically it was really interesting. It was hilarious because
canola oil. Are you serious?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I mean, like even you know to stay away from that, right?
Yeah, I do know, but I'm just surprised that people even still consume canola oil. I think it's healthy. Anyway, that's something we've talked about in the way debate.
Time there.
Yeah, for sure. Steph, thank you so much. I'll let you know when this video goes up, but it'll probably be the first video of 2022. So if I don't see you, Happy New Year.
Yeah, Happy New Year to you too.
All the best in 2022.
Yeah, same for
and
you.
I want you on that channel. And I want to be the first guest.
Yeah, you will be. You got it.
I got the first spot on that. So you've heard it here
first. You got the first spot.
Perfect. Thanks so much, Steph. I'll talk to you later on.
Okay, bye, Nick. Have a good day.
You as well.